It's time for another head-to-head matchup, this time pitting the legendary Republic clone Commando against the Imperial's finest, the Death Trooper. Who will win? Let's find out. Now before we begin, let's clarify something. Republic Commandos were poorly portrayed in the Bad Batch series, and I want to make that known now. I don't want to hear any of this garbage about how easily they were defeated, so stop typing those comments. Now let's get back to the topic at hand. RC versus DT. I think it's only right that we start by breaking down the Republic Commandos, including their gear, enhancements, and most importantly, their training. Republic Commandos are enhanced clone soldiers, trained for missions beyond the ordinary. They were most often assigned to small four-man squads, with the most famous being that of Delta Squad. However, larger units did exist and would be assigned by the Special Operations Brigade to fight alongside various battalions or legions. An example of this was Captain Gregor's unit Foxtrot Group, which served as a part of the 212th Attack Battalion before suffering heavy casualties during the Battle of Sarish, with Captain Gregor narrowly surviving and then later crash landing on the planet Abafar. Clone Commandos are the elite clone troopers of the Republic's Grand Army. When a clone is selected for the Commando program, they are trained by the best Mandalorian warriors in the galaxy, individuals handpicked and recruited by Jango Fett to help transform these clones into the deadliest soldiers. Once clone commandos complete their training, like mentioned before, they are placed into four-man fire teams. One of the most notable being that of Delta Squad, however less popular but maybe considered to be more elite, was the unit known as Omega Squad. I thought I'd throw that in there for those hardcore Legends fans. You guys let me know if there are some more Commando squads I should know about. Of course, if you weren't aware, or maybe you didn't play Republic Commando, which you really should, RC squads were assigned a variety of missions that the average clone trooper would be ill-equipped to achieve. Missions such as covert infiltration, sabotage, demolition, and even assassination. These assignments were of course all fairly standard to Republic Commando units. Clone Commandos were armed and armored with the best that the Grand Army of the Republic could provide. The primary weapon included the DC-17M interchangeable weapon system, which was able to switch between a rapid-fire blaster, a grenade launcher, and of course a sniper blaster configuration. Additionally, most clone commandos were also armed with the DC-15S sidearm blaster. However, this doesn't mean that a commando was limited to those specific blasters. They could operate or choose E-Web heavy repeating blasters, accelerated charge particle repeater guns, accelerated charge particle array guns, or even shotguns, all weapons you will see when playing the game Republic Commando. Of course, to tell you the truth, an RC will use whatever they require in the moment to complete the mission. But there's more than just blasters. Clone Commandos also carried a wide variety of grenades, from EMP grenades, ribbon charges, frag grenades, ion grenades, stun grenades, or even the infamous thermal detonator. Now in terms of armor, well, they had the literal best, that being the Katarn class Commando armor, a standard for all RCs. Not only did the armor protect the wearer from blasters and explosions more efficiently than standard infantry trooper armor, it was shielded thanks to its integral backpack system. Katarn Commando armor also came with a retractable vibroblade, a built-in tactical display, and full-spectrum night vision. Commandos also had the option of personalizing their equipment with additional ammo packs, communication gear, advanced sensors, and demolition equipment, with some even adding onto their already bulked-up suits with extra armor plating to areas they considered vulnerable. While all RCs are trained to handle any situation they are placed in, most squads will designate specific roles to individuals within the unit, from sharpshooter specialists to communication and slicing to demolition and even close quarters combat. I would go as far as to say Clone Commandos haven't had their due justice in Star Wars television like the animated series The Bad Batch, but they have forever left their mark on the pages of numerous Star Wars Legends novels. They are the legendary soldiers that would pave the way for other elite units like the Death Trooper. I want to give a brief overview of the Death Trooper before we get into the nitty-gritty. Death Troopers were the elite variant of Stormtroopers, specialized in stealth, espionage, and lethality. They operated under the Death Trooper Division. Units would often be assigned as protective details for higher-ranking Imperial officers or members of the Tarkin Initiative. Other units would work as special assignment commandos for Imperial intelligence. Death Troopers wore specialized black suits of armor that were highly durable, being resistant to small arms blaster bolts by dispersing its heat and energy along the surface. Highly advanced helmets gave a Death Trooper micro-motion sensors, a state-of-the-art heads-up display that provided the soldier with a battlefield data feed, And of course, who could forget the iconic vocal scrambler used to confuse and intimidate the enemy? Other than having access to the best weapons the Imperial military had to offer, Death Troopers were highly trained, focusing on areas like unarmed combat, heavy weapons, demolitions, improvised weaponry, guerrilla warfare, and marksmanship. Few people could live to survive an encounter with a Death Trooper, and those that did would be forever haunted by their death-like appearance and lack of mercy. But let's get into the details of the Death Trooper. How does one become a Death Trooper, and what makes them so elite? Say you wanted to become a Stormtrooper, so you enlist in the Corps and begin training. Each test, be that physical or mental, you excel beyond your fellow cadets. Then one day you are reassigned in order to report to an advanced Death Trooper camp on Scarif. You meet all the requirements, being smarter, taller, and stronger than the average soldier. But even more importantly, your devotion to the Empire is unmatched. Arriving on Scarif, you are subjected to more brutal physical tests, before being taken to a medical facility where you undergo classified surgical enhancements that elevate your physical and mental attributes, despite being highly unethical. Now your strength, speed, agility, reflexes, and stamina are light years beyond that of any other soldier fighting for the Empire or Rebellion. You become an Imperial super soldier. The Empire furthers your development with training in exotic environments, battlefield tactics, weapons, and covert warfare. Your transformation into the most elite soldier of the Empire is complete. No one can outmatch you, and few would even dare try. You are a Death Trooper. Now that you understand everything you should know about these two elite units, you can see that the Republic Commando and Death Trooper are the definitive best of both their respective militaries. So what would happen if two squads of these elite soldiers battled it out? To grade and judge this fight, we need to look at a few categories, that being enhancements, training, weapons, armor, and fireteam cohesion. Starting first with enhancements, the Republic Commando being a clone would have meant that genetic experimentation and alterations could be made at a young age, even prenatal. These enhancements would improve a clone's speed, strength, durability, and overall cognitive function, making clone commandos far superior to an ordinary clone trooper. With Death Troopers, alterations to their genetic structure would be something that occurred after a candidate had passed their initial trials. So what really hurts the Death Troopers in this category is that they would already be fully matured in adulthood, or at least in the latter stages of becoming an adult. Alterations to their genetic structure would be far more limited due to this fact, as it could prove harmful to the candidate if enhancements were too extreme. Category 1 enhancements goes to the Republic Commando. Moving on to Category 2, we will compare training. Clone Commandos receive the best training from hand-picked Mandalorian warriors, those personally selected by Jango Fett, a man deemed the deadliest warrior in the galaxy, having defeated multiple Jedi in a single fight. Training from the Mandalorians ranged from various weapons and close quarters combat to infiltration, sabotage, and high-value assassinations. Whatever the missions, the RCs were trained in. Death Troopers were trained by the best the Imperial military could find. While there is no mention of Mandalorian warriors, especially considering the Empire's history with Mandalore, I would imagine some clone commandos from the Republic would have transitioned into becoming Death Trooper cadre. So I find it funny because we could very well infer that the Republic Clone Commandos would be among those instructors assigned to train the first class of Death Troopers. Where does this leave us? Well, I think the fact that the Clone Commandos receive first-hand instruction from full-blown Mandalorians carries a lot of weight, whereas Death Troopers receive second-hand training from those surviving Clone Commandos, and that would really have only been for the first phase of Death Trooper. Because it is noted later on that veteran members of the Death Trooper division would take over as the cadre for new recruits entirely, this leads me to again give the point over to the Republic Commandos. The third category is that of weapons. The Republic Commandos' primary weapon was the DC-17M interchangeable weapon system, a blaster which could be used in 3 different configurations: assault blaster, sniper blaster, and of course a grenade launcher function. This versatility alone makes the DC-17M a wonderful choice for a special operations unit that would most often find themselves behind enemy lines and cut off from support. The Death Trooper's primary weapon was the E11D, a personal favorite of mine when I play Battlefront 2. This blaster is made by the always faithful Blastech, of course the same goes for the DC-17M. The E11D trades long-range accuracy for stopping power, as it was designed for close-quarter urban environments. It is an extremely reliable blaster that is balanced both in its power output and stability. It could even be modified to hold a grenade launcher attachment if one desired. In all honesty, this is a tough choice. Both blasters are a perfect primary weapon, and I wouldn't fault anyone for choosing one over the other. That being said, I have to award this point to the Republic Commando. The DC-17M is far more versatile than the E-11D, and that goes a long way for these types of soldiers. Moving on to our fourth category, armor. I don't think anyone would be offended by me saying that I think the winner is fairly obvious. While I like the jet black armor of the Death Trooper, and knowing it has the advanced heads-up display found in its menacing-looking helmet, it can't beat the Commando's Katarn-class armor. Republic Commandos are outfitted with the best and most highly advanced armor a single soldier has ever been equipped with. It is highly durable, resistant to both blasters and explosives, and of course it envelops its wearer in a personal shield, not to mention the fact that it has a built-in vibroblade which gives it an insane cool factor. Yet again, the point goes to the RC. Finally, we will look at the two different squads for these legendary units. Both fire teams are trained and proficient in marksmanship, demolition, hand-to-hand combat, weapons, and battlefield tactics. Both units are familiar with one another, knowing that at any moment they have each other's back. With special operations units, this level of trust in one another is incomparable. This final category's points are awarded to both squads. So where does this leave us? Well, the results are rather apparent. The winner is the Republic Commando. From their enhancements, training, weapons, and armor, Republic Clone Commandos are one of the most elite Star Wars units to have ever been. This isn't to say that Death Troopers are worthless. In fact, they are still a contender and would definitely prove to be a difficult fight for anyone. But as for this head-to-head, they lost. I apologize to all my Imperial sympathizers. The Republic lives on. Let me know if you disagree with me or if you totally agree. Always feel free to write your thoughts and opinions in the comments. I love to hear from all of you. Join the Discord if you want to talk directly to me or if you have any suggestions for future videos. Blast a like on the video and make sure to subscribe because why the heck not? Have an amazing day or night, and may the Force be with you.